Welcome back, YouTubers. I'm an average Joe. For short, you can call me AJ. And this is my crypto channel. AJ's Crypto. That's the intro. That's going to be coming soon. I'm kidding. It's not really going to be that in my face. It's going to be my logo's face. Yeah. So, getting into today's wonderful video, we're going to go ahead and start talking about pattern predictions. So I play patterns. Patterns are something I've been playing since 2020 when I got into this, and with no knowledge of what crypto is or anything like that. So jumped right in, head over heels, and did the deed. And made a prediction based on seeing a pattern that seems to repeat itself every 4 years. 1 year after, or the year after the halving event, going from there, halving event from Bitcoin, that being. And so every 4 years from that. So last one was, Bitcoin's event was 2017, so this one's going to be 2021. Altcoin season ended early 2018 because of how late Bitcoin ended that year. So everything goes a couple years previous. So it's going to be still late 2021 when Bitcoin hits. September is kind of when they're thinking. Altcoins should then end October, November. So pretty sure October. But again, this is going to matter on Bitcoin and how that whole thing goes and that wonderful fun pattern. It is about a 3-week period after Bitcoin does their thing that the pattern shows to be the same way. And again, this is older patterns because they're older graphs I was looking at. So I can't break down a lot of the things too on the days. I can't see, gosh, I think that far back I couldn't even see the weeks. It was something where I could just kind of see months, and I was able to actually see weeks on some of the graphs. I could go at least 5 years back and see graphs even on Robinhood, which we'll touch a little base on in what we're going to talk about in this video, because Robinhood doesn't have fees, so they don't charge you all the gas fees that you see that you get from using anybody else on the planet. Robinhood at that rate becomes a real good staple. Now, the only drawback to Robinhood is if you're doing this on a regular dated basis. So their idea of a day trader is literally somebody who makes a trade from buying within a 24-hour period and making a sale within that same 24-hour period. So if you buy one day and then in the next day you make the sale, as long as you go past the 24-hour period, I believe you're okay. If it's something where you buy in one day and sell in the same day, no, you're going to have a problem after you hit, I think, 10 of those within a certain amount of time frame. Then they're going to want you to be a day trader. In order to have your account be a day trader, you have to maintain $25,000 in your account at all times. So it kind of hurts a little bit here. But anyway, I digress. I am going to talk about Ethereum, which in itself kind of hurts a lot of people because Ethereum in itself is an expensive coin. This is not something that's very cheap. It is $2,500 just for one. When we're going to be talking about this, I'm going to be talking about this on a level of 5. I'm going to be dealing with 5 coins. I did an investment on this, so you get to watch me do this investment with you just to see how maybe good, bad, or indifferent this turns out to be. Not only am I going to document this on paper, but I'm also going to be checking this sporadically. Obviously, it'll be in my purchase history because I actually did this through Coinbase Pro. The reason why is because since we're dealing with Ethereum, my Ethereum currently is sitting over with Robinhood because, again, that was the first app I got into. That was the one that was going crazy in 2020 with the fallout of the stock market and crypto, space and everything else. So it was the one that was the easiest to get into. No fees. Hello, who doesn't like that? No fees. So I did a little bit of this playing around even back then when Ethereum was way less than this. Maybe $400, $500, maybe. I think even less than that. No, I'm lying. It was probably around down $200. I was doing numbers based on like $10, where you'll hear me now, going 100x. Again, we're talking $250 to $2,500, and I'm going to be obviously talking instead of $10, $100. You got it. So we're going to be doing a bigger gap than obviously what I remember doing, but it worked back then a year ago with Ethereum, and I could have been doing this the entire time, and I have not been doing this. So I'm very glad. Not only am I trying to get anybody else on the planet who watches this video to maybe do this, but I myself am also doing this. So off my own research, let's go there before we get into the patterns. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not. I might play one on TV. I'm kidding. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research. I can just point at things, and as I point at things, don't just click stuff, because that's not going to fix any of this. You need to go and look at this the same way I do. Look at the patterns, come up with the same thing. I'm literally going to show you how to do it all on your own. I'm not going to do this every week for you, so you're going to need to do this on your own. Right? That's just how this is going to have to go. But I might give follow-ups to TikTok, which I have a TikTok too, AJ's Crypto. So if you go find me on TikTok, you can find my AJ's Crypto on TikTok, and that's where I do funny videos. Actually, I got 30 seconds. What else am I gonna do? I got funny videos that I kind of pinpoint people to go buy certain cryptos because they're really low right now. And no matter how you want to swing it, if this is the bear market and we're kind of screwed from here on. And it's not going to repeat the patterns that it's repeated for the last, I don't know, 12 years. Then, maybe in 2025, when this all happens again, it'll be that much more. Think about the guy who, had a coin back in 2017. What was the name of that coin? By T. Cohen. By T. Cohen. That was what it was. Oh, Bitcoin. Bitcoin. That's what it was. How silly me. 20K. It didn't even hit 20K. It hit $19,000. That was its peak. 19,000 something dollars in 2017. Dang, what if that guy held onto that coin and was forced? He was forced to hold on that coin. It's like 30 something thousand dollars right now. Right this second in this bear market 4 years later. So what I'm getting at is even if I had to hold this for another 4 years, yeah, I'm pretty sure my Ethereum at $2,500 is going to be where I predicted it could be up to 10 to 20K this year. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be 10, 20K by 2025. Yeah, I don't know. Numbers and graphs and stuff kind of look like it looks that way. Call me silly. Or AJ. That's actually what you should be calling me. Anyway, so again, not a financial advisor. Please do your own research. Let's get right into this, folks. So we're going to be right here by being right now. That'll give us a chance to go ahead and look at all the fun stuff that we're going to be looking at. So currently we're sitting at 25.27. That's good news for me because that means my 5 coins that I just made my purchase of recently is $7 higher. I'm up $35, everybody. I'm living the dream, baby. Oh, just lost $5. All right, $30. All right. Anyway, so how I'm going to get to how I got to the number I got to today, but let's go on to the past. So this is just a day. This is going to be something we're going to relate back to here momentarily, but we're going to go right here. Now, I'm not using apps that are going to help you with lines and all this craziness because, again, the average Joe who should be watching this, though maybe I'm not technically using an average Joe's coin at the moment, and we're talking about anyway. I'm referencing this, and I will probably make other videos for lower cost coins. I'm thinking about maybe doing one for Binance. Binance is a real fun coin to play with. Their percentages go wacky, but they have a very big utility in their coin. Nope, don't ever ask me to do Cardano. It's never going to happen because they're never going to be that really high. I mean, they're not. I mean, it'll be nice to see them hit double digits, maybe this year if the bull market's still going to transpire like it should in October, November. But, whatever. So anyway, you have to define a point. So what we're talking about today is tops and bottoms. So you got to be able to find a top and a bottom. I'll reference today's. Let's actually go back to the day of it. So there was this huge dip right here today. We have to ignore that. It's still a dip. It's still a drop. But you see we've recovered into the same thing we left at before we nailed back down here. So it just becomes a dip. It doesn't matter what the pricing is. Yes, of course you would want to buy here, but to use this as a defining point for the bottom, unrealistic, very unrealistic. So what I did is I used it as a defining point from the other ones here. So defining points for peaks as well as valleys. No, tops and bottoms are the peaks and valleys. There you go. So I'm kind of new. I'm still trying to figure this out perfectly. Holy crap, I've lost all my profit. Anyway, I'm trying to figure this out perfectly in regards to what the peak is and then being on a secondary. So a primary peak is, say this right here today, 25.45. That would be the primary peak. And then the secondary peak would be more of a lowered one, somewhere 25.11, 25.14, 25.19. And then another high peak again, 25.30s. So these are the high peaks, the primaries, and then the secondaries are going to be your lower peaks. You should define a point along the lower peak. Now, that's going to be as far as a sale goes. As far as a purchasing goes, It's the valleys. So on the lowest valleys, if we're running on the day, there's a big valley, there's a big valley, there's a big valley. But then there's all these smaller valleys. So then we can go maybe on the lower valleys, 2496, 2487. So if I was early enough in this day, basing it on the valleys I'm seeing, yeah, secondary valley right here, 2480, I would have came up with something maybe around $2,500 as my buy-in. So my buy-in then would have hit 2,500 easily throughout here. And then, of course, as it did the rest of this, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm losing a ton of money. Which I'm not, because I'm not making a sale. So if I'm not making a sale, I'm not losing anything. Just saying, just saying. So at the $2,500 price that we would have picked up at, we then go 100. I came up with the number 100. 100 just seems fair when you're looking at tops, okay? So to try to hit a top, you want it to obviously hit 2,600. The drawback is right now on today's pattern, it's not looking all that fantastic, but we were coming off of 2,600 and higher. So on the day, we just happened to hit a drop, which then defined a nice low for us to pick up on. And then because even though we're going through this right here, all the way across, not coming close to $2,600 at all, we're literally going to have the ability to get out at $2,600, which we probably are going to see tomorrow, maybe the next day. And this is where I digress and we go back to the 7-day instead of the 1-day, because the 1-day is finite to its own day. It doesn't tell us anything of the past, and obviously very little for predicting anything into the future. And as you're seeing at 25.14, I did again buy in at 25.20, but buying in at a 2,500 price is becoming more of a reality, even to buy in still right now. Now, going back to this, we can actually see a buy-in price somewhere around, and I'm not going to, I mean, if you look at this for a little bit, you'll find it right here. They talk about head and shoulder patterns, where here's your little shoulder on 2 dips, and then the head, and then, of course, another shoulder on these 2 dips, or jumps, sorry, these little peaks. So based on the peaks, again, I'm not going off of the primary. These are the secondary peaks. Boom, 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 boom. And these are what you would call, I'm even running off of buy peak, or buying off of those peaks. So again, I've not pinpointed this to where the valleys are what we have to define as our buy pricing. The peaks obviously can be the same thing. Now, if we judge it by the valleys, 2675, you hit a 2689, you hit another 2684. So I mean, you're pretty, yeah, you probably wouldn't be too bad to sit there and say, okay, 2685. The drawback is in this, if you didn't pick it up right there at the 2685 or right here, based on what you're seeing, if you weren't right here at 9 o'clock at night over here on the eastern side, you're not going to be able to pick into buying this. You'd get your buy down here, and then you might not even get much of a sale out. So for argument's sake, we're going to say $2,700. Let's just run with 2,700. That seems to be where the peak levels were. So we hit 2706, 2703. Peak level here was 2719, 2719. So you can go somewhere in the middle, 2710. For sake of argument, let's just say 2,700. So if you went 2,700, then sale price again being that $100 floor, you kind of come and see here. How many times could it hit 2,800? If your line is right here, you literally can see it a couple times across the board. So that would be your defining point. Now again, if you bought in at the 25, no, it was 26. I was right, look at me. 2695 point that we were talking about on the valleys. Yeah, 2680, 2690. Yeah, 85, I think we said 2685. You're kind of close, but I mean, it's still something doable. 2695, you can say 2690. You'll obviously allow yourself more room to get out. This is the point of being able to precisely predict this and having a good number to go between. On 5 coins with the initial investment of, like, say, close to $13,000 to buy 5 coins of Ethereum, you're literally talking, you're making at best here $500 on a day. Now, that doesn't sound all that great, depending on, obviously, if you only hit it twice in a week, you made $1,000. But now if you have a full-time job and you literally can put this in for limit orders and stuff like that, then this is awesome. You're clicking a couple buttons or touching a couple buttons and making an extra $1,000 possibly a week or more, and having a nice ability to bring home extra money. Or if you just keep reinvesting it, you make $1,000, you only want to keep the 5, pull your $1,000 back to your bank And that way, then that's $1,000 less out of the 13 grand that you put in. So now you're down to 12,000 you owe yourself or your savings account or however you play your life. Please also, if all we're talking about, since we're talking about a $13,000 investment on this right now, if that's what we're talking about, the drawback here to this is don't use only 30. If all you have is 13 grand and you have no plan B and an emergency happens, what are you going to do? You then going to take a loss, especially if we hit a dip and you're at a negative at the moment. Don't. So I would tell you, if you barely have this money, don't do it. If you want to invest in small amounts like this, you still can follow this to the T. It's just going to be very much more dumbed down. Instead of $13,000, you say you have $1,300. Buy $1,300 worth of Ethereum and literally play the same game. It's the same game. It's just going to be with a lot less money. When I say $100 peaks, you might be setting for yourself 10. So if it goes up to $10 you need to make the money on the investment that you made, that's your sale point. And then just play this the same way that I'm playing it. Obviously, the numbers don't change. You still sell out at the same time, so you're still going to pick my peaks and valleys for the tops and floors. You're also still going to look at this on what numbers move from $100. Just understand, when I'm talking about a $100 movement, you'd only be making $10 on that $100 movement. But you would still be paying attention, obviously, to the $100 movement that I'm talking about in this video. So $2,700 to $2,800. So at $2,700, we would look at that. You establish yourself here. You picked it up here. So at $2,700, you're then selling at $2,800, which you hit right there. So you have one sale so far in the week. You don't get to pick up through here, but you do right down in here where it hits there. So now you pick up again. Now you don't have a sale point again, though, until we get a little bit further here. There you go. And then even if you didn't pick it there, it got right there. So now you have your second. Now we're going 27. You picked up another set right there. And I want to say we almost hit it. If I could probably scan into that day a little bit better, I would probably be able to see that we did hit 28 that day. But we don't have to worry about it since there's no pickup or buy order. Your sale order would be right there. And you'd have 3 different sales. Now again, if you're running 5 coins each and you're making $100 per coin and you're doing this on Robinhood, again, doing this on Robinhood, you'll have made $1,500 for the week just off of that alone. And so making that off this alone, that's great. The drawback to running Coinbase, which is the one now I'm playing with, so I can also understand maybe the fee base, is exactly that. There's going to be fees. Today's fee for me making the purchase is going to be $60. I already looked at the sale because I did the limit sale. My limit sale's already in at $2,600 whatever, and that's another $60-something. So each day I'm already looking to lose $120 out of the $500 that I'm going to be making. I mean, I'm essentially losing 20-25% of the money already. So instead of what could have been, and I do believe there is another. If you were using another app, so if you had the ability to use Coinbase and you could put another $13,000 into that one, so you have diversified portfolios, even though you're playing with Ethereum on both. You essentially on Coinbase Pro then could do a buy-in, set a new buy price, do a buy-in where you could have also made $100, or not $100, you had already sold for a couple $100 based on those 5 coins today. So the potential on the week could have been roughly about $2,000 already that you could have made. And again, who knows if you're already in. This is only establishing this on a week pattern based on the fact that you weren't already in for this week. If you were already in for this week, I believe this wasn't the head and shoulder pattern where it then finally did this breakout. What we wound up seeing right here is just another, I want to say we might have been a little lower or might have been a little bit more sideways. So you might have already had a purchase established and a sale maybe going into this, instead of having to define like we just did what you're buying at and then getting a pickup right there. So you might have already been able to get a 4th pickup at that point where you would have picked it up, sold it, picked it up and sold it, picked it up and sold it, and blah blah blah. You get it, etc., etc. So definitely would have had 3 sales here. Outside of using a second app, I'm saying like I'm now playing around with, and more money and more investment and etc., etc. You literally can, like I said, deal with making the money that you might have been able to make. $1,500 on Robinhood. Somewhat substantially less on 3. You're going to lose at least $300, so you would have made $1,200. I want to say maybe using Coinbase Pro, doing the same identical play. So I don't know. I think whatever full-time jobs you might have, if you're a businessman, it doesn't make a difference. You're making millions to making just decent enough to where you can afford to put $13,000 into something and play a little bit with a graph, then hey, all the better. I'm currently down $8, you know, 40 bucks. I was up 35 in this video. I'm currently down a little bit around like $40, but that's fine. You're going to get these ups, downs, and all around. So the biggest thing now is if it tanks down to 23 and we define a new bottom, then I'm done with that one app. I'm going to leave my sale order in, but then I'm done with that app and I have to move on either to a different app, which at that point I might start playing and putting money over into my wife's Robinhood account. So that way then we don't have the fees. I might even put that money in there now just so it's ready for me when I'm ready to use it, because there's always the chance this market could drop. And thankfully I'm blessed enough to where I don't have to worry about it too badly, and I can have that extra money aside like that and still have an emergency fund in case I need it. Not taking loans or anything crazy like that either. So outside of that, I hope some of this has helped. I hope to open your minds to a whole new world that maybe you didn't know existed. Everything in this crypto space, as well as stock market, seems very big on market caps, knowing how much there is of something and what a market cap is currently valued at. Coin obviously cost is something big, you know, stock cost is big, and it defines how a lot of people look at each individual stock or coin. One of the biggest things, and that's kind of why I hit a little earlier on ADA or Cardano, is it can't go so high, but so high, because it doesn't sound like the company itself has a plan to do any kind of coin burn, and based on that, they're going to keep their coins relatively low cost. That sounds to be one of their plans, but at that same rate, I mean, you're not going to get me to believe that coin's going to be a real good competitor to Ethereum, at least for another like probably 2 events. And by events, I mean literally the bull runs that we're seeing, hopefully to continue this year, but also 2025 and 2029. So you're not gonna get me to believe that until it gets way further along in the process, man. You know, then maybe I could believe they can get into double digits, sustain those double digits, and maybe even surpass, you know, the market caps that we see of, say, something like Ethereum, sitting, as you see on my screen, $300 billion. You know, whereas last time I looked at Cardano, I want to say they were running around like $60 billion. So, I mean, 5 times their price would only bring them guys to, well, I think $60 billion was maybe when they were at $2. So, I mean, you're literally talking about $10 a coin just to get to the same amount of market cap as Ethereum. You're just, nope. 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 It's not happening. I mean, it might happen in a bull run, and then, you know, lose out on like 80-something% like it normally runs, you know, in those bull run, or when the bear market hits. But anyway, I digress. I thank you very much for watching. I don't have a little clicky thingy that shows you all fun stuff to like, click, and turn on notifications, but please like this video. Make sure to subscribe so that way then you know when new videos come out. And also, make sure all your notifications are turned on, so that way then when a video does come out, you'll get alerted, especially since I only do these like once a week or so, and I'm not bombarding the system yet with craziness. Other than that, I'll talk to you all later. Thanks for watching.